What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Lifting in Heels podcast. I'm Rachel, and I'm here with my co-host Heather. And today we are going to talk about my experience with my breast augmentation. This is just kind of like a topic that we both agreed we wanted to talk about because we feel like people aren't very open with this, and there's a lot of unanswered questions like going into your surgery, going into your consult, what you should be looking for, what you shouldn't be, and then just kind of like what my personal experience is like. Granted, it's different for everyone depending on who your doctor is, what implants you get, and just how your body recovers. But we just wanted to share my experience with it. So, Heather, how was your week?
My week's been good, but a little crazy. How about yours?
Oh my God, mine was crazy. I actually went to boards this week and I passed. So
Yay!
I'm so excited and so
That's
relieved.
so exciting.
Yes, it was like the craziest experience that I think I've ever had with like schooling. Honestly, I mean,
bet.
for me, it was way harder than anything I ever did in college, which is so funny because I feel like people like downplay cosmetologists as far as like, oh, that you just go to hair school because you can't make it through college or you don't really like want to do anything else. Yeah, no, it's crazy, like the things that they put us through while we're there. And I mean, I was there. I checked in at 7:30. We started at 8:00. I did not get out until after 2:00 in the afternoon.
Are you serious? That's a
Yeah.
long test. Now, is it all written?
Yeah.
Is that how it is?
No, so there's two portions. There's like a practical part where you have to actually like do hair with a proctor watching you.
Oh my God, I would be so nervous.
Yeah. And it's so stupid because I mean, the things that they test you on, most of it you're not gonna like really use in real life. Like the haircut is an 80s mullet, pretty much.
Stop it.
We have to do a
Although
perm.
in the high school world, I saw it was like starting to come back. Like weirdly, like guys were showing up with mullets. Like on like my friends' kids who are in high school, and like some of them have mullets. I was like, is this real life? Like
I know it is coming
like,
back,
so
but
funny.
it's like an easy haircut, but it's just such a weird one. Like, I don't know. Most people, let's be honest, most people aren't going to get like an 80s style.
No. And like that's, I mean, do they pick that because it like incorporates short and long hair? Like,
I think it's just because like it tests, well, we have to cut with a razor and then we have to cut with shears. And then you have to like pull the hair from different elevations and you have to make sure that like it's the same length everywhere. And like, it's just a whole process. It's not like that hard, but you have to be precise with it.
Oh my God, the mullet. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. And
that's awesome you passed though.
Oh, I was so excited. I cried. I actually cried like afterwards.
Oh.
I was so relieved. I mean, I had been studying like 2 to 4 hours a day for like the last 2 weeks. Just because,
oh my God.
Like I graduated in July. I've been waiting to go to boards since July. They've been like backed up due to COVID. So they only had like last minute cancellations and I didn't want to just hop right in there.
Oh, really?
At like the last second. Yeah. You can't schedule like a month in advance. So it's been crazy, but I'm so happy it's done and it's over with. It's a relief for me.
Yay.
So
we are
done.
Congratulations.
We are licensed. Thank you. Okay, so on to today's topic, my breast augmentation. I did have a couple questions from my followers on Instagram, and I'll just start off with one of them. One of them was, how are you feeling? Which I think that's so sweet to ask.
Yeah.
I'm feeling great. I actually got my breast augmentation done back in early fall. So it's been a while. I didn't post anything about it because quite frankly, it's like none of anyone's business if I got it done or not.
I agree.
So like people knew, obviously, if like they saw me in person, like, oh, she went from like a negative A to a triple D overnight. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, you could tell
That's
in
funny.
person, but I didn't really like announce I did that. Um, but I'm feeling great now. I really didn't have like a whole lot of issues, to be honest. So
That's
yeah, I
good.
feel great. I feel great. Okay. So the next question, how bad was it?
Yeah, I'm curious to know about this. How, like the right when you wake up, how bad is it?
Okay, so when you wake up, or at least when I woke up after surgery, I was so out of it still from anesthesia. Um,
Really?
oh, I was so out of it. I remember, well, I don't really remember anything like directly after surgery. This is just like what Dave told me. So
Yeah.
he tried, I guess, to wake me up, or he was like trying to like nudge me to wake up, and I just kept like falling back asleep.
Oh my gosh.
And then I guess finally when I woke up, I was like trying to get out of there. Like I got out of bed and was like rolling my IV around saying I wanted to go home,
Oh my God.
which sounds like me. And then
Like this,
go ahead.
that's crazy. Just because the anesthesia just makes you like think
So
that, like, is
loopy.
that an anesthesia thing? Like, yeah, that you're just like kind of drugged up.
Well, that, but I think like you don't have a filter on anesthesia either. Like
Um,
I was just very direct and forward, I guess, with people. Like
that's so
I wanted to go home, and I don't know. My parents came over afterwards to like help with stuff around the house and like make sure I was good and everything. And I guess I got really not so nice with my mother, which I didn't even know at the time. I didn't even know at the time. And
Oh my gosh.
my dad texted me, it was either a day or two later, and was like, you should probably call your mom and apologize. And I'm like, why?
Stop.
Why? What'd I do? And he like told me some things I said, and I'm like, oh, I don't even remember saying that. I'm so sorry.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
So I mean,
I wonder how much stuff like nurses and doctors hear, whoever's like in the room when they wake the person up. I wonder how much
mhm.
stuff they like hear about like their issues with people in their life, or like whatever they just like spit out.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, I'm
wild.
sure they're used to it just because I mean they see it all the time, but they probably hear some wild stuff. That's for sure.
Right? Because I mean, like, if someone's like with you, or someone has like an issue with like their dad and they're like, F them, they are terrible and blah blah blah. And then like the dad comes and picks them up. They're gonna be like, like, here you
Like,
go. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's wild.
have fun. Have fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
kind of know you kind of don't. Yeah, like
Mhm. That's
oh
so
my God,
funny.
that's wild. I never realized that anesthesia did that to people. Like, knock on wood, I've never had to undergo surgery. So, like, I don't know. The most I've ever had is laughing gas when I got my wisdom teeth out. And, like, that was a weird trip in itself. So, I can't
Mhm.
even imagine anesthesia.
Oh, it was wild. It was a wild experience for sure. Because I never had surgery before that, so I didn't know what to expect at all.
Oh, I didn't know that you never had it. That's like
Mm-mm.
a big first one to kind of get,
Yeah,
get
I'm
your feet
0
wet
or
with.
100. I
Yeah.
don't really dip my toes in things. So,
That's crazy.
okay. The last question I have is, what do you wish you would have known pre-surgery?
That's a very good
That's a
one.
really good question.
Mhm.
To be honest, I think, I don't know. For me, one of like the biggest things was just like knowing what I was getting into, like as far as getting ready for surgery. Um, it was kind of a weird experience as far as like them like getting my IVs in and like getting me
Ugh.
ready.
I don't
The
like needles, I don't like IVs.
I don't either. I
So,
don't
like, I
either at
can't
all.
like,
But
I
like
give you props to be able to do that. Like, that's mm-mm.
I don't know. Like that wasn't even like a bad part for me. I think just like the
Oh,
scariest thing was, so for a breast augmentation, which I didn't know this, they put you on the OR table, and then you have to like put your arms out, and they strap your arms down to the table. So
Really?
because
Why?
they have to like sit you up to make sure that like
Oh, so they can get in at
the
any angle?
implants, yeah, and so the implants, they can see if they sit
Oh,
correctly.
oh,
So
okay, I get that.
that was like that was the most terrifying thing. I remember like thinking right before I went out, like, what the hell am I getting into right now? Because like, I mean, they were strapping me down,
That's
putting like nodes on me, and then like more like needles and IVs and stuff. It was like the
so
weirdest experience.
they don't tell you that beforehand, like, "Hey, by the way, we're gonna like you're gonna get strapped down like a
Nope.
crazy
At
person,"
least,
like,
at
that's
least they didn't tell me that. No, no, that was just kind of like it was happening, and I was like, what is going on right now? And then I was out.
see, I think that they and,
They
I
should tell
mean,
you
I
that.
under
They
they
should
should
tell you
tell
that.
you, and I understand sometimes, like, with the doctors, like, since it's routine to them, they don't say anything, but I think anything that's outside of, like, what you would do every day, so the littlest thing that is weird, like, we strap your arms down, we put these things on you, I think they do need to say that because, like, I know if it were me, I'm already freaking out about the IV. You know what I mean? So my stress level would be,
Yeah.
like, out the roof, like, through the roof.
Yeah.
So I wanna know, like, what else are you doing to me besides this IV? Because, like, I don't know. I just
Oh,
feel
for
like
sure.
I start to be irrational starting with the IV.
For sure. For sure. That was like, I think the weirdest thing. Other than that, I kind of did my research for a long, long time before
That's
I
good.
even got my surgery. It was something I wanted for God, probably since I was like 19 years old. Yeah, it had to be when I was
Oh,
19.
really?
'Cause it was like it was right after I did my first show. Um, no, I shouldn't say right after, probably like 6 months into my off season at that point. Because growing up, I had bigger boobs, and I was so used to it. And then after I did my first show prep, they like completely went away. And I was like, oh, they'll come back, I'll gain body fat back and they'll come back. No, not at all.
So you had boobs before. You
Hmm.
didn't it wasn't like you were born with none.
Yeah, I was a D cup in high school.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Hmm.
That's so I went through something very similar. Now mine never got so small. Like mine, I think like a B was like the smallest I've ever gotten. But like I was like you, I had a D cup since I was like 12. Anybody that went to high school with or even middle school with me knows my boobs are real. And so when I started competing, they like I think I got back like a small C, but they never came back with like the vengeance that I hoped that they would come back with, and
Right.
it took a long time. It took, like, progesterone hormone, replacement and some serious work, and like, I'd say 2 years for them to really of me not competing and, um, for them to come back. So, I
Yeah.
get that. Like, you feel like something's missing from
You
you.
feel like something's missing. And then I think too, when you get so lean for a show and, you already feel kind of like, I shouldn't say manly because you don't like as a bikini competitor, you really don't feel
Mhm.
manly, but you know, you have
I I
cut up
feel I feel
muscles
like a
and you're
boy.
really lean. Well, that was the thing. To me, I was so tiny. And then on top of it, I was like shredded to the gills,
Mhm.
and having no boobs on top of it, I felt like a 10-year-old boy, you know?
Oh, 100 and then, like, I'm sure you get this too, like, so you're used to, like, filling out stuff, whether it's, like,
Mhm.
your like, top, bottom, everything, you fill stuff out, so you're used to that, and then when you start to diet down, you become more, like, straight up and down, and then you lose your
Mhm.
boobs, and then all of a sudden, people are like it's not like, "You look really good in that dress." You look lean. You're really lean, and it's like,
Yeah.
do I not look good anymore? But, like,
Right.
I you just notice, like, your compliments get different when you become super lean. That's why I don't like to be stage lean very long. I'm like, "Let me do this show and let me get this, done, and let me get back to normal." but because I do miss that, because it does make you feel more feminine when you start to
See,
be able to fill stuff out.
for me, I'm kind of the opposite. I'm like weird. I don't know. I
Okay.
prefer I prefer to be lean. Um, and I think now it's going to be even like it's going to be even different with having like a breast
Mhm.
augmentation because I'm going to have like
Yeah.
that more feminine part. I think I'm going to like being lean even more now. Um,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
for
for
me,
sure.
I think it's because like I grew up heavier and I always got made fun of for being heavier.
Really?
Um, yeah.
Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
God. I
I
never
should show you.
would
I
have
should
guessed
show
that.
you pictures of when I was a kid or like even early high school. I was thick. I was thick. I was
Really?
oh
Oh
yeah.
my God. You're not like that at all anymore.
No, I've like completely changed. Dave always says I had like the biggest glow up of the century because
Oh my
I
God.
don't
I
look,
want
I
to
mean,
see this.
I don't look the same at all, but granted, I've busted my ass to completely change my shape,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I was heavier growing up for sure. And I got made fun of a lot for it. And I think that always like just stuck with me. Like granted, it doesn't like really bother me anymore, but I think like
Yeah.
subconsciously that's why I prefer to be lean.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know.
I get that.
I feel better. I just feel better lean. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
even now, granted, up to like the last couple of weeks of the show, like the last couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, I'm over this. Like
Yeah.
whatever. But like leading up to that point, I feel better. I feel I honestly feel like more energy. I feel like I want to be more productive. I feel like just everything is like better for me mentally. I don't know why, but
No, I agree with that. And you know what? Maybe I'll give you, I like 8 weeks to like 5 weeks out on how I look. I do not
Mhm.
like the like leading up to the like 3 weeks in, 2 weeks out, like
Yeah, no,
um
I
that
agree
like
with that.
you have like striations and stuff, and people are like, whoa, and they start making comments about like I said, like how lean you are, like, oh, you got muscles. And I'm like, when you walk into places and all of a sudden, people are starting to make comments about how muscular you are, that I like it bothers me. Like, I appreciate the compliment, but it does make me go, ugh, I wish I looked more feminine.
Yeah, no, I get that for sure. I mean, I don't know. I think for me, I've learned to like get over people's comments about it because quite frankly,
Mhm.
like I'm not living my for you.
Exactly.
And I sure as shit don't care if you have your opinion of, oh, she looks too manly or oh, she's too lean or oh, this or that.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I know,
That
like,
doesn't bother
if you're already making those comments, like, you have no idea what it takes to actually
me.
sit there and do that. So,
Ex Exactly, and especially, like, if a guy is telling a bikini girl that they're too muscular, it's like, that means you need to get your ass in the gym and start lifting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a bikini girl is, like,
no scrawny men for
so
Heather.
small. Wait, what did you say?
I said, no scrawny men for you.
No, you know how I feel about that. We've had conversations about
We have, we
I
have.
feel very, very strongly about that. Like, I should not be more muscular than you, that there's a problem. Um, no, but, like, for real, like, when guys say that, I'm like, because you know, like, I'm with you. Like, it doesn't make me feel, like, different. It's just it's, like, reaffirming how I feel about myself. Like, I think I look too little boyish when I go to compete. So, like, when other people say it, I'm like, like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But what I've had so many people to like guys make stupid comments, like you said, like, "Oh, you're too muscular," like, "Oh, you look like a guy." I'm like, "Okay, like, you look like a girl then if you think I look like a guy." Like, because I'm tiny. I'm just lean. I don't have big muscles, idiot. Like, So
Like
I'm with you. Like those people, I'm just like, "Ugh, please. Like
yeah.
I can beat you up, apparently.
I
Um,
think for me, like the hardest thing was like I didn't really give a shit about other people's comments, like people I didn't really know. It was more
mhm.
so like when I first started competing and like my family didn't get it. Like,
Oh, yeah, I could see
you
that.
know, they were kind of like, why would you want to look like that? Because I would show them pictures of like pros at the time that I like idolized. And
Mhm.
I would try to explain to them like they're not huge at all. Like, I remember
No.
showing my dad a picture of Norman Assyria,
Oh my gosh,
and
she's like 90 some
she's
pounds.
like 90 pounds on stage, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, "She's like twice the size of you. What are you talking about? Like, why would you want to look like that?" I was like, "Dad, no, she's not. She's like 90 pounds on
Yeah.
stage.
They look
You just
they look
you
bigger
look
in
big."
pictures.
Yeah, you look
Mhm.
big when you're lean in pictures. So I think it was
But you
hard, but
fit
like
into,
now
like, this
teeny
you're, like,
tiny
so
things.
small. Like, you fit into, like, clothes like, I have, like, a competition section in my closet that, like, I'll never fit into unless I'm, like, going to compete, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because the sizes are so tiny, and
Mhm.
you don't realize it until you know, get down that far, like, how small you actually get.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. But my family's like, I don't know, they're super supportive now of
That's
it.
good.
Like at first they were kinda my dad was like always supportive of it for sure, but like I don't know, like my extended family, like my aunts and my uncles and my
Yeah.
cousins and all that were like, "Huh? Like what are you? Why?" And
Mhm.
I mean,
I
no one no one really ever did that in
I
my
get it.
family. And like it's
Mhm.
not popular around where I'm from whatsoever. I mean, there's like a few people in the area that actually bodybuild and they're really good at
Mhm.
it too, but other than that, no. It was just kind of like a foreign thing. So,
See, I was the opposite, like, my dad, like, I remember when I was, like, maybe 17, he, like, comes in with an art he's like, "See the fitness girls? Like, maybe you wanna do this?" And I was like,
yeah.
because at that point, it was only fitness, and then, then it was figure, then he's like, "Hey, how about you wanna maybe do figure?" And he's like, "Hey, bikini just, got on the scene. You wanna do bikini?" So I
Aw.
had the opposite, thing, so it I can understand though, like, how it is such a weird sport that I understand some people are like, "What the hell? Like, how in the world? Why would you wanna do this?" You know?
Well, it's
You
like
can't
it's
eat.
kinda taboo for women at first, I think, because, you're getting
Mhm.
on stage, I mean, let's be honest, almost naked,
Yeah.
um, in some clear, tall heels. Um,
Stripper heels.
if you yeah, I didn't wanna say it. But
And
yeah,
it
I
I
mean,
I
pretty
got my
much.
I got my first pair from a strip shop. Like,
Stop it.
and swear to God, and they told me, like, the guy that was selling them to me, who like, great salesman, was like, "Oh, they're a little tight. Just take a hair dryer, warm up the plastic. This is what all the strippers do, put your feet in them. They'll, like, mold to your feet." Oh, it was, in downtown Columbus. I went
Oh
there, I
my
was like, "Hey, I need,"
god.
because yeah, that was, like, I because I if like, my very first show, I actually wanted to try them on, and, like, there no store carries them besides a sex shop, you know what I mean? At least
Mhm.
before, in, like, what,
Before, like,
2014
Amazon
or whenever I
Prime
did
and
it.
before the
It
shoe fairy and all that, yeah.
exactly, this was way before Amazon Prime. So, I literally remember, I went to the sex shop downtown, and I was like, "Hey, I'm not a stripper, not that that matters, like, not that it's bad or anything, but I just need them for a bodybuilding competition."
That's so
And, yeah, they were super helpful.
yeah. That is funny. It's just I think people they don't get it unless they know it or they see it, which is
Mhm.
understandable. I mean, if it's completely foreign to
Yeah.
you, you're gonna be like, "Well, why the hell would you wanna do that?" You know?
Mhm. Oh,
Um,
100%.
so of course there's gonna be, like, some question and maybe even a little bit of judgment, but I think once people learn the sport and, like, what it takes to actually do it, and do it
Mhm.
well, then there's a lot more respect there for sure.
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm.
So
No. And so at like this, like in my head, like I think like bodybuilding, and then I think bad boob jobs. So that we've all seen bad boob jobs in the fitness world. Going back to our topic, what would you like recommend for somebody who is thinking about doing this to look for in a doctor so they don't end up like one of those bad boob jobs in bodybuilding?
So for me, I researched doctors for God, probably 2 years, honestly. Um, I didn't really care about traveling if I had to, but
Hmm.
luckily for me, I found my doctor literally right in Independence, Ohio.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
it, it was only about a half hour away. Um, and for me, when I chose my doctor, um, I had already seen or had a consult with a doctor prior to that who was in Cleveland. Um, and I just remember leaving like that first consultation with the doctor that I didn't end up going with, like, I don't know if this feels right. Like it just, for me, he was very dismissive. Any
Oh, that's not
questions
good.
I had, he kind of just like rolled over them and was like, oh, well, once you like schedule your surgery and stuff, we can like go over more. And for me, like I was not willing to, put that kind of money down on something that I didn't
No.
even really have my questions answered. And it, to me, it was just kind of like one of those doctor's appointments where you just felt like another number of patients throughout his
Yeah.
day.
Hmm.
And he was just kind of in and out in like 5-10 minutes. So I already knew, like, there has to be a better doctor that's willing to actually talk to me and answer the questions that I have. Because I mean,
Hmm.
it's not a huge surgery, but it also is at the same time. I mean, you're literally getting, depending on where your incisions are, you're literally getting cut open, having something shoved inside you, and then just stitch you all back up. And I mean, a lot can actually go wrong, which I never knew how much can actually go wrong. Um, the implants may not fit. Your body
Hmm.
may actually reject the implants, but that won't be until
Hmm.
after your surgery for probably a few days. And if your body rejects the implants, then you have to go and get them taken out, which is a whole other
Oh my
procedure.
God.
There's so much that can go wrong. But when I found my doctor, his name's Dr. Matt Goldschmidt, and again, he's out of Independence. I cannot say enough good things about him. Um, his his whole, just the way that he took care of me, even before my surgery, when I had my initial consult with him, he answered every single question that I had. And I had like a list where you could scroll through on my phone.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
there
how it
was a
should
lot of
be.
questions I had. Well, that's the thing. And that's one thing I do recommend for people to do is, even if you think it's like a self-explanatory question, ask it.
A
Ask every
hundred
single
percent.
question that you can think of. Um, my
Well, the one
biggest
thing that like, well, like you said too, like it's a small, it's not like a major surgery, but I think what people don't like take into play is that like there's no small surgeries. Like not, it doesn't necessarily just go down to like how much do you cut, what, are they just plopping something in there? It has to do with like how you look at the end. You know what I mean? Like a nose job is a big surgery. Lip injections are a big, even though it's not surgery, but that's like a big deal because it changes how you look. And that's something you have to look at every day. Someone like it might not be a major surgery, like I said, for them to put it in, but they make your boobs one up and one down. That's major. You know what I mean? Like it's a
Yeah,
big deal for these things. So like I think people really need to not just be like, oh, it's just a boob job. It is major. So you better have all your questions answered so you don't end up as somebody who wishes that they asked.
absolutely. Absolutely. And like my biggest thing too, I mean, there's a ton of things that I recommend, but like when you go into your doctor, make sure you ask those questions, make sure you feel comfortable with them. But then also make sure that it seems like they want to answer your questions and they want to give you as much information as possible about what you want, because I can't tell you how many stories I've heard where girls will go in and say, "Oh, I want, let's just say like a 32C or a 32D."
Mhm.
And then they come out with something like totally different. Like they could come out with double D, triple D. I mean,
Mhm.
you have to like make very, very, very clear exactly what you want. Um,
Mhm.
and then
And trust your
obviously
doctor
like
that he's gonna do it.
trust your doctor that he'll do it, but if he doesn't think that it's going to be good, also tell you that too. Because
Mhm.
actually I ended up going just like a hair bigger than what I thought I was going to go or what I wanted to go. Um, and his biggest thing was people always wish that they would have gone bigger. And for me, I was just so terrified that I was going to have like it just wasn't going to look right. But he like reassured me that it's not going to be too big. It's not going to, look crazy. I ended up going with 455 cc on one side and then 425 on the other side.
Is that because, like, one's bigger naturally? Is that how it
Yeah.
works?
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't
So,
even
which
think
is
about that.
actually really common. I didn't think it was that common. I just thought like I was a weirdo that had like one boob bigger than the other.
Well,
But
I think my
yeah,
right one's bigger than my left for sure.
yeah, it's like it's a very common thing. So,
That's so funny. But I wouldn't have
yeah.
thought that, you know what I mean? Like, I would have gone in if I were to get surgery, I would think, like, you're gonna put something equal things inside me.
Mhm.
So and I'm sure that there's doctors that do that, that aren't that good, that are just like, "Well, we're just gonna plop these 450s in on both, and you're gonna end up with one,
You're gonna be
one bigger than the
lopsided.
other."
Well,
Mhm.
one thing that he actually had me do and recommended was getting the internal bra technique done, which I think absolutely made like the world of difference like for myself.
I've never
So
heard of
basically
that. What is that?
it's like a new technique, like probably within like the last like couple of years. Um, so what they do is they take two pieces of medical mesh,
Mhm.
and they put it like inside your pocket for where the implant goes.
Huh.
And basically as you recover, your scar tissue forms like an internal bra.
That's so
Um,
wild.
and the reason he recommended that for me is because I have a wide set rib cage. So I would be and we've all seen this where these girls, they get these implants and then they end up sliding out to their armpits and they've got like a
Mhm.
hand's distance between
Yeah.
both boobs. And you're like,
Yep.
oh my God, that's so bad. So basically, he had me do that just so they would stay in place and they would stay high. Because one of my
Oh, that's
requests
good.
was that they be as high as possible. I did not want these suckers settling.
That's what I would love for mine. That's like the biggest thing about natural boobs is I wish that they could just lift them up and like have them
Uh-huh.
constantly up, like in my face up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any like technique that you can do that to keep, like and without getting stuff in there. But
Mhm,
that I'm so jealous that you get that because I love like the fullness at the top,
mhm,
that you just
mhm.
don't get with natural ones.
Well,
Like
what's nice
I have a
too, I
bra, like
mean
a bra that pushes mine up.
well, I mean, yeah, mine, I mean, they kind of stay there.
See,
They don't really
so
move.
jealous. I love that.
Well, thanks.
I'm
Thanks.
jealous. Yeah,
I'm jealous. That's funny.
I
One
am.
thing I did want to touch on though was kind of like the recovery of like what to expect for
Mhm.
your recovery. Now, granted, everyone's is different. Um, but for me specifically, for me to fully recover, and my doctor said that I recovered very, very quickly. Um, I was about 6 weeks. He didn't clear me for anything until 8. Just because that's like the universal precaution of,
Oh, really?
yeah. So 8 weeks, you're supposed to be fully recovered.
Oh, okay. Then does that mean like you can work out, you can do everything like,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you can do like
You can,
half the stuff?
no. So the way it worked for me was, I really I really couldn't do anything for like the first couple days. Nor did I want to. Um,
Oh,
and you don't
I
think,
like can't even
you
imagine.
don't,
Can you like sit up at all or not?
no,
No.
you can't sit. Well, you're supposed to sit more up, but to actually
But
get
like you,
up, you
but
can't.
yeah, you couldn't go from like laying to like sitting up.
No, no.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely not. You had so much pressure on your chest, you couldn't even fathom trying to get up.
That's so
And
crazy.
then you're not really like supposed to either. And you can't, because like you can't put your arms back to like press up, and
Oh,
your
so you like
abdomen,
none
like
of
your
this.
upper abdomen is still kind of like sore. So you can't do it at
Now,
all.
why is your stomach sore?
Not so, for me
Is it
at
just like
least,
inflammation from like
it's
having
inflammation.
everything? Okay.
It's inflammation, but then also like the like my incisions were right by
Oh,
like,
got it.
yeah,
Mhm.
because I have such a short torso that it all like kind of blends
Goes
together.
together. That's how I am. I
Yeah.
get it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm like nothing, like everything's crammed in this much space.
Yeah. So you don't realize like how much you use like your shoulders and your arms and your chest.
Mhm.
Like you just don't. So like Dave had to help me up. He had to open doors for me. You can't open doors. You know, like
You
you actually
none of
legitimately
that.
need someone with you, like watching you 24/7. Probably they say for like the first 24 hours. I would say for probably like 3 days.
Really? See, like, and like that's really good to know because how many people? I mean, I guarantee you that there's girls that go there like to get them done, and they don't have someone for 3 days, and then after like they might have someone for a day, and then
Yeah.
it's just like, what the hell do I do?
Yeah. No, you can't get up. You can't really like do anything on your own. Like for me, I couldn't shower on my own for like 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
And that was only because my incisions couldn't get wet until I got the
Oh,
sutures
okay.
out. So the way I had to shower, I kind of had to just like hold under here and cover the incisions. And then Dave
That's
just took
so funny.
the thing and sprayed me all over.
Now, could you wash your hair? Like you can't go like this, right?
No, you can't lift above your head until 4 weeks after. So
Oh
I
my
couldn't wash my
gosh.
hair. But thank God, like for my friends at the salon, because I went into the salon and had them wash my
Oh, that's such a
hair
good
because
idea.
I couldn't, that like
That
hurt
is
for me.
genius.
Yeah.
That's
So I literally
genius.
just I went to the salon and they blew out my hair for me.
Oh my god, how nice.
I
Those are good
know.
friends. Those are
I
good
know.
friends. No,
I
but here,
seriously
okay,
like
so
love
here's a
everyone I work with.
that's
I
good.
love all of
You
them.
can't put a
Yeah.
price on that.
No,
No,
no. And I can honestly say I've never worked anywhere where, other than like where I work now, where I absolutely love every single person I work with.
aw, that's really good.
Yeah.
Especially dealing with like all women, because we know sometimes that can be difficult.
Yeah. So I didn't know what to expect when I first started working there, but like it's been absolutely wonderful. I can't say anything better about where I work with. So, or where I work and
That's
who I
so
work with.
well, so then definitely everybody before you get a boob job, try find a salon, find some friends that do hair that can
And
get
make
your hair
sure
washed because
you get your hair
yeah,
washed. That's a big
I think
thing.
that that's such a good such a good thing to know. Now, could you
Mhm.
do makeup? Like, could you go like this and like eyeliner, mascara, or no? Or is that like
To be honest with you, I really just didn't wear makeup for like a solid 2, 3 weeks.
really?
I did not even attempt it. No, because for me, I was just at home. Like I really couldn't do anything.
Mhm.
Like the only thing he allowed me to do up until 4 weeks, actually, no, up until 6 weeks was walk. So all I
Oh
did
my god.
was just walk around my apartment complex like 3 times a day, like a nut job, because I couldn't do
That's so
anything
funny.
else. Like, honest to God, I'm such like a busybody that
Yeah.
I I could not stand being home and not being able to do anything for that
Mhm.
long. Like,
Oh, that would drive me nuts.
for the first few days, it was great. I was like, "Oh, I haven't had,
Yeah.
like, time to just, like, relax and watch TV and this and that."
Mhm.
Oh my God, after, like, the 2nd week, I felt like I was in quarantine again.
Oh,
I actually
I
remember
can imagine.
I had, like, a full mental breakdown. I just remember crying to Dave one day, and I was like, "I just wanna go and do things and go to work and go to the gym, and I can't do this anymore." And he's like, "Are you okay? Like,
Oh my
what's
god.
going on?"
That is so funny. Oh my god. He's like, "You did this to yourself." Like
No, legitimately, but it was the best thing I could have ever done for myself,
Oh, I think that
and
they look
I
great. I
cannot.
think
Thank you.
yeah,
I
I think
cannot.
that was a great not that you look bad before by any means, but, seeing them and seeing how you look with them, hands down, great decision.
Yeah,
Great
I
decision.
mean, you know, I think I don't think it's as bad anymore, but I would say it's still kinda like a taboo thing, like, getting your boobs
Mhm.
done and, like, letting people know that you got your boobs done. But
Yeah.
for me, and everyone's different, but for me, it was the best decision I could have ever made for myself, in the sense that
Mhm.
I was one of those people that would, like, walk by a mirror and, like, pick myself apart with everything.
Mhm.
Now, just from one decision that I made, I don't really do that anymore. Like, I even, like, in my full-blown off season where I feel, like, thick, I'm like, "Oh, I still look good." Like, I feel like I look good.
Mhm.
And it's just such a, like, an empowering thing for me,
Mhm.
um, to not to not pick yourself apart daily. To
Mhm.
always, like, feel confident, and I think that's a big thing for women, is, like, women don't always feel confident. I mean, men
Oh,
don't either, but
100%.
I think women pick themselves apart, like, 10 times more
Mhm.
than men do,
Oh, yeah.
and it just get having, like, that confidence, it gives you such a better quality of life, you know?
Mhm.
And it
Oh,
was, like, just for
for sure.
myself, like, the way that I fill out clothes, or
Mhm.
the way that, like, my shape is now. It's just I I don't worry about things as much anymore. Like, as far as, like, the way I look, and, like, oh, am I
Mhm.
getting too fat? Oh, am I too skinny? Like, I just don't, it doesn't, like, bother me anymore.
Well, one of the biggest things I think is, there's 2 different people that, wanna get a boob job, and more so, and everybody has a confidence issue, and there's people like you where, maybe it was just one thing that you just really wanted that you thought would complete your package, and then there's others that they have a ton of insecurities, and they think a boob job's gonna fix them. And this I say the same advice to when people wanna compete just because they have all these insecurities that they think are gonna get fixed, and that's not the case. The only time I think that a boob job is not the answer and not a good decision is for people like that, where they get it thinking all their problems are gonna go away, and they're it's just one less of, 100. And I think
No,
at that point, you know what I mean? People need to kinda do more
for
or introspect and think, like, what is really bothering me? Is it really that I just need boobs? That's it? Or is it a lot of other things that I think that this is a Band-Aid that's gonna fix it? And I've seen both situations. People like you get them, love them. That's what they needed. And other people that get them, and like it's a shit show, and it weirdly almost makes it worse, their insecurities.
for sure. And here's my advice to anyone even thinking about doing it. make sure, don't just get them right off the gate. Like you wake up one morning, you're like, I think I'm going to go buy boobs today. No, no, you need to know 100% for a while. I'm talking like at least a year, if not more, that you want to get them done. You know exactly what size you want to be. And you definitely do your research on who your doctor is. You meet with your doctor multiple times beforehand. And you're 110% sure, because at this point, you are spending thousands of dollars. So it's not like, you go and spend a few $100s and I have boobs. No, you are either paying partially or you're paying monthly for at least a few years. So it's definitely a financial investment for sure. And I think people don't really like think about that going in, like, oh, hey, I'm going to spend like anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 on my body. Like that's a whole other thing. Like make sure you are financially capable of paying for these as well, because it's an investment, it's a commitment. So make sure you're ready for that as well.
And I think too, like when you really think of like the costs and think about, like, when you sit down and you think about it, there's also, if it's not really the boobs that you need, it's something else, your brain kind of gives you like a warning sign that's like, this is a lot of money and it's not going to fix your problem. Like subconsciously, you kind of get that thing in the back of your head that's like, $10,000 is a lot of money to pretend that this is going to fix things. Like maybe
Right.
we should think about something else. Like,
Well, too,
and
you also don't know how much it's going to cost you. It's not the same across the board. So like, depending on if you're just getting a breast augmentation, some people need a lift and an augmentation, which a lift can add anywhere from $2,000 to $6,000 onto your surgery.
Really? I did not know it's that much.
A lift is actually harder to do than just a breast augmentation surgery.
So if you get like, why do you know the answer to this? Like why someone would need like a lift over not getting a lift? Like, is it if your boobs are saggy to begin with and you want a boob
Yeah.
job, then they got to like lift it up?
Yeah. So actually the first doctor that I had a consult with, who I didn't end up going with, told me that I may need a lift. He'll know more when he gets into the surgery.
That's
For
like a big
me,
surprise of like you wake up and it's like $6,000 more.
right.
Surprise. Like
Exactly. So that was another reason that I
like,
didn't go with him. But I actually didn't end up needing a lift at all. So I think it's either
good.
like people who had kids, or they lost like a massive amount of weight, to where, your boobs would sag a little bit, in order to get the result that they want. So say if they wanted like a high profile look like I have, and you already have like saggier boobs,
Gotcha.
then yes, you would have to get a lift on top of that. So that's like my biggest thing, is just make sure that you know that you're like 110% dead set on it. You know that your doctor's good, you know that you're a good fit. And you know that you're financially capable of taking it on.
I think that's good advice.
Yeah. So guys, I think we're going to end the episode for today. If you have any other questions, or anything related to today's topic, please feel free to either DM myself or Heather. If we do get a lot more questions, we can always do like a part 2 of this. I think this was like a really cool topic to talk about. It is a little taboo. However, I think that there needs to be more like raw and real information, and just people's stories out there of like what they've gone through. Cause like, granted, I had a very good experience with mine, but some people don't. And you don't always know what you're getting into necessarily. So with that being said, I think we're going to end it for today and stay tuned for next week. Guys, have a great week and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.